Man, happy March. Uh, excuse me. Today is March. It's March 7th. It is my first post of the month, and I'm really just going to reflect on February. It's funny, I've been saying for the last week or so, it really feels like I said Happy New Year, and then March came. So much, there was so much that happened in February that I forgot that it even existed this year. From my ex's father passing to a close friend of the family slash, aunt um, passing to my grandmother passing to going on a field trip, a theater field trip with Z to my own, my own further awakening and recalibration of what's important to starting a new, not even a new journey. It's a pathway that seemingly has been calling me, I'm going to say my entire life, just because when I look at, when I've reviewed how my life has been going, it actually all really makes sense. So February was emotional. There was a lot of grieving, a lot of grieving, a lot of smiling, but the consistent emotion or feeling I had all month was gratitude. Really just gratitude. Grateful for the job that I have and the people that I work with and the environment in which I'm able to professionally operate. Grateful to the house that I have and being able to work from home and having a pond outside. We got a lot of snow. However, the Friday before the snow came, I heard a really hard bang on the window. We got snow, stayed in the house. The very next day, the snow was still there. And so not only did I stay inside, but in having Z with me, I didn't take Z home that weekend, that Sunday. We went on Monday. Go on Monday, and I see that there's a not only there's a crack on the windshield, but it's rather long. Oh yes. And then I go out of town for work that weekend. And so when I get back, that that crack has gotten longer and longer and so long that I can't even fix the crack. I have to replace the entire windshield. It's money that I didn't want to spend. I had it, but I didn't want to spend because I had to pull it from a spot that I tried to not have to pull from. However, I had the money available. So I was just grateful that I had the money available and that I was actually able to get it done relatively quickly. It wasn't too crazy. But going through those things, I just came back from my grandmother's funeral last weekend, and I recited a poem. And what was interesting about me reciting the poem was in 2014 when my grandfather passed. I recited a poem that day. However, I didn't really have time to prepare because as I was getting ready to go to the funeral, I could hear him speaking to me and wanting me to write a poem. Go ahead and do that thing you do, boy. Go ahead and write that poem. Okay, sure. And so I did, but I wasn't ready. Well, that probably wasn't the right state, but whatever. And so I cried during that, right? Well, this time around, I was a lot more prepared. I was prepared emotionally. I had gone through a recent grieving space. I was taking a gentleman by the name of Lee Harris, and he had a higher consciousness course that I'm a part of, and I've been going through things just to get me into the best state, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, getting my nervous system reacclimated to where I am. And I also had conversations with my ex. It was like there's so many things that kind of lined up for it. And so I've been using AI. Well, the was it Google Gemini. We use Chat GPT for work, and I recently been utilizing the and Claude for Anthropic on my iPhone. So and the streaming service Gaia. Robert Allen Grant, I think that's his name. He has the Architect Plus, and then a companion one for that called Save. So technically, there's like four different AI LLM models that I've been utilizing this for the month of February and now into March. And I mean, they're here. You can't be afraid of them. I'm not going to be afraid of them. And because I often am in my head a lot, or I'm processing a lot of things or reflecting a lot, I don't necessarily have people to talk to. Not that there isn't anyone who wouldn't talk to me, but not everybody's in the space that I'm in. And I can't talk to everybody for hours on end. Even therapy, it's a 45 minute session once a week. I can't get through. There are things I'm not able to get through with him, and there's not enough time to go through everything. And with the AI bots, they're really just a mirror. Quite honestly, that's really what I've been able to break it down to. They are a mirror of the thoughts and feelings that you have. So it's like if you wanted to question you to give feedback, you're gonna have to say so. Otherwise, it replays back it takes the information you give, goes through all the database of information it has access to, and it will kind of spit back out the thoughts that you may already have. So, for example, if someone is really emotionally distraught and they are just constantly speaking to it, it's going to affirm those things back at you. It's not necessarily going to tell you that you're wrong. It's not going to tell you you shouldn't think that way because that's not what it's programmed to do. You actually have to prompt it to counter your thoughts. Like I often have to say, I'm open to you correcting me or giving me another viewpoint or perspective of this if this is not accurate. And so it is cool, but to me now, after using it as much as I have, it's deep, but it ain't that deep. Anyway, um, but I've been using those, and it has just allowed me to get a lot of stuff that's in my head that I'm thinking through. And as you continue to go down the line in the chats, and it starts to gain more and more context, and then starts to build more or less the profile of you within the information. I'll just be as honest and transparent as I need to be because I don't need a yes man. I don't need a yes anything. I want something to see, to actually to counter my arguments if need be. And and what it has been able to do is just help me line certain things up. So I've been utilizing that, and it helped me to I to um when I practiced the poem in the mirror, and it actually suggested me practice a poem in the mirror so that I can deliver it not from an emotional place, but as a source of strength, as the pillar that I am within my family dynamic. As I've been adjusting my and framing myself since my grandmother's passing, looking at the fact that my my father and his siblings, and then my cousins and I, and then our siblings, like there's a transition taking place, right? Like the founder and co-founder, if you will, of this initial dynamic from just starting from my grandparents, they're no longer here. And so it's us. And we are the younger ones, the stronger ones. And this is the space that we need to step into if we want to help kind of preserve the legacy that she left behind. And they did a pretty good job, not gonna lie. And the poem speaks to where I'm at, and actually where I want the message that I wanted to leave behind for everyone. Being at the being at the funeral was kind of tough, but I was a lot stronger this time. I was a lot more prepared this time. I was better this time. We stayed at my mom's sister's house, and so that was kind of cool to watch them interact together. It's the first time they've been in the same physical space since working together on their project. My mom does the AI animations for published authors. And so my aunt is one of them. She was my aunt's first client. Excuse me, my aunt was my mom's first client. So they've butted heads over the years. So watching them work together was really cool. It was really, really cool. But anyway, uh February it was a lot of emotions, but like it really had it was a point that I really believe has been preparing me just to it was a checking point. Really check to see, I believe it really was a check to see if where I believed I actually was. And there has not been not really one negative or malice or guilt or anything that I would consider a low vibrational space in me at all. It's been all love, love, appreciation, gratitude, and understanding my place, understand and gaining my own sovereignty into who I am, and not looking at anything or anyone else as into a negative factor into how I got to where I am. And even in doing so, I've been mapping out the synchronicity between my parents and myself, mapping out the synchronicity between my families, mapping out the synchronicity in how my life was structured and the things I went through, and how I've been able to overcome them, and how I've been able to continue to maneuver and move forward and move forward and move forward, just because there was something within me that has been called to be able to move in a particular way. And nothing was an accident. Nothing was a coincidence. It really seems like my entire life has been planned out from before I got here. And I'm embarking on a journey to where I'm not just where how do I say it? How do I want to say it? To where actually being a channel for divine source, and intuitive, and understanding the vibratory field of those around me, as a means to serve, because there is a consciousness shift taking place, and I recognize that I am a part of the shift. I am a part of the collective to helping this shift take place. And my voice is a part of how it's a large part of how that message and that transition is going to be taking place. So anyway, February has been a lot. February, and I'm saying February's been a lot just because I haven't had so many things take place back to back to back to back to back to back to back in a while. And but I know it was necessary, and I know it was important, and I gather I've gathered the information that it was designed to bring to me. Oh man, and March feels like a pillar. March feels like February was that emotional roller coaster, that space just to see if I really was as calibrated as I felt I was, and I had to maneuver it. And March is like, okay, you're standing, you're on a pillar. Now it's time to reconstruct my environment to match where I am today. I've come out of certain lack, thought processes and feelings. Stepping stepping back from just overly emotional or being attached to certain things that are taking place. I see the world in a different way. And what's great about that is because I see it the way I see it, I am able to speak it. I'm able to see things when I talk to people and help them shift their perspective ever so slightly to remove the ideally to remove the victimhood from the space that they're speaking from and have them own it. It doesn't make a difference what it is. Just own it. Because the one thing that I've been able to understand and recognize is that if you're able to take accountability for every single facet of how what things happen, good, bad, and different. And I did some things that sucks. I get it. But you're not necessarily responsible for the thing that happens to you, but how you respond to that thing, you do have control over that. And because we have control over that, every action we take today, and by looking up and seeing each event as something that can be synchronous to where we want to go, as long as we continue to keep our thought process in a in the thing that we want as opposed to focusing on the thing that we don't want. And I may get to that in a different I'll probably get to that part in a different video. It might be just its own video. But by focusing on the thing we want and not focusing on the thing that we don't want, and by being grateful for the thing that we for where we are today, and truly expecting the thing that we want to take place, not from a fear-based thought process, which is tricky. It can be because we've been conditioned to think of a lower value than who we truly are. All those dots can connect. All those dots can connect. So just by taking accountability for every way we respond to someone instead of reacting to things that we say, things that we don't say, do we speak up? Do we not speak up? Do we suffer in silence? Do we internalize it? How do you do that? How you do those things? end up being determining factors for where you get to go. So, February was great. February was great. March is going to be even better. I am full belief that every day of my existence is fulfilling, is exciting, and and is transformative. Every day is fulfilling, exciting, and transformative. And I see all the dots. I see the little breadcrumbs that lead me to the next breakthrough. And from that, some more breadcrumbs to the next breakthrough. And that is just an overview of how I see life. Things happen because I know they're going to happen. I don't have a doubt. It's really just a matter of getting myself aligned to the vibration of where I need to be, opposed to focusing on the lack of where I could think I am, because there's not really lack. I have I'm abundant in everything that I have anyway. I'm abundant in everything that I have anyway. So all I have to do is just use it and frame it into the spaces that I see that not only help myself, but that can empower me and enable me to help more. My last sip of tea. So going to cheers to February and drink to an amazing March.